Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello there, it's Brad. The Empowerography Live Conference 2026 is happening live and in person for the first time here in Toronto in April of 2026. This is your chance to step fully into your power over 2.5 incredible days. You'll hear from 30 plus inspiring speakers, join hands-on workshops, and connect with women from around the world who are ready to grow, learn, and rise together. This isn't just an event. This is an experience that will leave you motivated, empowered, and ready to take action. Seats are limited, so head to my website and secure your spot today. All the information will be in the show notes, and we look forward to seeing you in April. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Heather Moyse. She is a mental game shifter, resilient strategist, a 4-time Olympian and 2-time Olympic gold medalist in the sport of bobsledding, and has also been inducted into the World Rugby Hall of Fame. She's a keynote speaker, a best-selling author, and a life empowerment coach. Welcome, Heather. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. That was a mouthful, but I got it all out. And I am so excited to have you here. So thank you, first of all, for taking and making the time to be here with me today. And I'm so looking forward to jumping in and sharing all about the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, a bit about your story and your journey. So with that being said, let us jump right in and get this party started. So I'm curious, before the medals, the mountains, and the mindset mastery, who was the woman underneath all of that? The one that the world didn't see?
I'm pretty much the same person now as I have always been. I think that's probably one of my strengths. It's probably one of the things that makes me able to connect with so many people, is because all of those things that you listed, those were just things that I happened to do and happened to accomplish or happened to do well. But I was very conscious of making sure it didn't change me as a person. And my family, kudos to my family for making sure that I don't change as a person. There are a lot of people who achieve really great things where their intention is to achieve them so that they can be elevated and that they can be treated differently and that they can. And I think that, I don't know, I think meeting people without them knowing all of those things that I've done is probably my favorite thing ever, because then I also get a sense of who they really are and they get a sense of who I really am without the pomp and circumstance. What does pomp even mean? What does that mean, pomp? Anyway. I don't know. But without that, I just think that right now, the woman after, I just think that it's a woman who just has more experience in the world of high performance, has more familiarity with the naysayers that live out there in the world. And I'm also more aware of what I'm capable of, and also how easy it is for people to sell themselves short and not look at the possibilities of what they're actually capable of. So I think that right now I'm just the same personality, but just with a lot more awareness and a lot more experience.
I love that. And I think that just speaks volumes, first of all, as to your upbringing, how your parents taught you and brought you up, but also as to who you have become as a woman and your character. And I think that's incredible, that none of that shit, all of these titles, these day-to-day bullshit markers that we use to identify ourselves have not gone to your head, and the achievements and all of these things, that just speaks volumes as to who you are as a human being and a woman. So kudos to you for that. And I'm celebrating that for you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. I think that it's interesting now as a speaker, when I speak at conferences all over the place, some of the best testimonials or the best feedback I get after is people who are just like, I never thought I could actually relate to an Olympian. Like, I never thought that I could connect and like actually see myself in her story, because my story is not about counting calories and how much weights I lifted and all of those things. When I generally talk to audiences, it's about the things that almost stopped me along the way.
Right.
Because those are usually the same things that are stopping other people or preventing them from actually taking the steps that they really want to take or discovering what they're really capable of. So it's really interesting when I very intentionally take myself off of that pedestal or podium or whatever they have me on and put me down to the person who really didn't enjoy lifting weights and who didn't want to go to the gym. And they're like, what? You're totally mind blowing my opinion of what I thought an Olympic champion was all about.
You've shattered the image of you that I had.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that's fun for me. That's fun.
It's incredible because it's inspiration. You're showing people you are proof of what's possible. You're giving them a permission slip that you too can do this. It's possible for anyone and everyone, which is where, of course, the mindset work comes in.
Yeah. The thing is that I have a master's degree in occupational therapy. So I do have that training in helping people achieve those goals. I mostly had the focus of neuro, like post-stroke and post-TBI, traumatic brain injury and that sort of thing. But all of that training also overlaps my own personal experiences in high performance, which is what helps me help people see the things that are standing in their way. And so I actually didn't start taking sports seriously or training or even lifting weights until I was 27.
Wow.
So I came at this whole high performance in sport world at a completely different angle than most people who start at 4 and are trying to reach the next level all the time. So it's a very different approach. I was able to make more value-based decisions and see the consequences of certain choices and actions and just realize that at 27, just a few weeks earlier, it's a lot comes down to what our choices are and what we think we're capable of and what we allow ourselves to believe is possible. So it's been a really remarkable journey because mine was full of self-sabotage, of excuses that almost stopped, that I fortunately caught myself making along the way that kind of stopped myself from copping out. And I just realized how excuses really are everywhere.
That's incredible. I'm curious then, with you being a 4-time Olympian, being around these high achieving athletes, did you meet anyone in your journey that had a similar path where they started much later in the game than you would typically hear of people? Because as you said, kids are usually starting into the sporting world and have dreams of being Olympians or have dreams of being professional athletes when they're very young. Did you meet anyone else that was a similar path to yours in your journey?
I did play sports growing up. I need to be clear. I did play sports, but I grew up in a really small place. And so sports was just for fun. There weren't people around me training to go to the Olympics. There weren't those were TV people. Olympians were TV people. But later when I did join that high performance world, there were other people who were starting that particular sport later, like a bobsledding. A lot of people will start after their university, whatever they're doing at university sports or so on. So a lot of times they'd be probably 21, 22, 23, like that kind of age where they get into bobsledding. I was 27. So still there's not that. But a lot of those athletes who come in still would have been training at university, trying to achieve those next levels of whether it's in football, whether it was in hockey or baseball and stuff, certain sports like that where it's very transferable. So not very many probably come in as late as I did, but I love that because when I talk about this, there's always someone who comes up to me after and says, I can't believe you didn't start till you were 27. I'm only 26. And I thought that and I'm like, what? Like you're only 26 and you're already stopping yourself. You already have it in your mind that you're too old to do whatever. And that's just so painful for me to hear. So then I'm like, and my last games, I was 39. So you've got another 13 years. Just I don't know. I just want people to realize that we are the ones who are usually stopping us before we even get started. We are the ones putting roadblocks in place. And it is our own self-sabotage with excuses that we've somehow rationalized as being legitimate reasons. Like we are very good at lying to ourselves, like very good. It's really interesting how we have learned to convince ourselves of certain things. And if we can just learn to catch ourselves in those moments and be like, okay, are you sure? We need to challenge our assumptions because we assume way too many things on a daily basis. Oh, they're going to be too busy to help me with that today, or they're not going to want to spend that money to go to that dinner, or they're not available to do that, or I'm not what they're looking for, or I'm just not qualified enough. Like all of those things are, why don't you actually try? Why don't you actually prove it? Just wait till you get the no. Wait till because you will. you're stopping yourself before you're not even giving yourself a chance. So that is, can you tell I'm passionate about that? Can you tell
Yes,
that
and I love that. It's
so,
so important.
I
It's
I know. It's
it is because we are our own biggest hurdles. We are our own worst enemies. It's fucking horrible. And if I'm sure you just want to fucking take people and shake them and say, no, this is not the way it is. It doesn't have to be this way. You are fully capable of
well, yeah,
anything.
I won't shake them because I'd probably be
No,
arrested or something.
I'm saying, I'm
But
sure you want to though.
sometimes
Just
I'm so dumbfounded. Like I will suddenly hear someone say something and be like, "What? Did you just hear the words coming out of your mouth?" I don't. Where is that coming from? And it's excuse. But so I did some research in this so that I could include parts of this in my book and into the terms of the things that actually stop us. All of our excuses are, like I mentioned before, it's our self-limiting beliefs or these limiting beliefs that are just stories that we've been telling ourselves since wherever they came from, since when we were young or someone mentioned something or whatever. Or there are assumptions. And those are just all the thoughts we have on a daily basis, like tens of thousands of thoughts, like the majority of them are actually negative. And so if we don't catch ourselves in those negative thoughts, then that's just where they just happen to go. And if we don't think something's going to happen, our brain will automatically come up with reasons to justify why we don't think, like the odds or probabilities. So our brains are just wired that way. And the other thing is fear, but we're actually not even afraid of failure. We're afraid of what we assume failure will bring. We're afraid of what we think will happen if we fail. So it's not actually the failure itself. That is completely moot. It doesn't matter. If we celebrated failure, it would be a totally different story.
yes.
But it is what we think is going to happen. And usually what we're afraid of is the judgment of other people. So we're usually afraid of what that person will say. We're afraid of being embarrassed because, or judgment or all of these different things. And that is often what holds us back. And the overarching thing of everything is really just our comfort zones. So our comfort zone, like all of those excuses, protect us to keep us in this comfort zone. And our brains are wired to avoid discomfort. So whether that is a physical discomfort, emotional or mental, whether it's an awkward conversation with a loved one to improve your sex life, we avoid that awkward conversation at all times, even though it could be incredible for your relationship in the long term. Or we just avoid those things that make us feel uncomfortable. And that's why we're not going anywhere. So now for a lot of people, though, that's also where burnout comes in, right? Because a lot of the high achievers, their natural status quo, their go is go, like their natural autopilot, whatever, is saying yes to people and go. And that's their norm. So what's uncomfortable for them is slowing down. What's uncomfortable for them is actually turning their phones off and disconnecting. What's uncomfortable for them is like not checking their email, good Lord, like every 5 minutes. So that's discomfort. So they need to step outside of their comfort zone into discomfort in order for them to not burn out and have sustainable high performance and all those different things. So it's interesting. It's really interesting.
The brain is fucking incredible. It really is.
It is. It's fascinating. It is. It can make up so much shit. It's not even funny.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And half the shit that we tell us is made up stories. It's made up.
Biases, layered and layered with biases to justify what
this person's going to think of us. More often than not, the people are too busy caught up in their own shit to even pay attention to what the fuck you're doing anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I joke about it in my keynote, but like I would never have discovered that I was capable of winning 2 Olympic gold medals had I not personally overcome the anxiety or that fear of wearing full spandex in front of millions of people. That is an actual legit truth for me. Like I was very self-conscious as having grown up as a muscular girl in a time where CrossFit wasn't even invented. There were no gyms on every corner. It was not a lifestyle. Gyms were hole-in-the-wall closets at universities where the football players went. It was not a thing. So I was really paranoid and self-conscious about my own physique. And so the idea of putting myself in spandex from head to toe, like on TV, it was absolutely mortifying. For me, that was discomfort, massive discomfort. And so unbelievable. And I was like, why would I ever put myself in that position to be seen that way? Like it was mortifying. And that almost stopped me from
Jeez.
from pursuing this sport that ultimately led me to where
That
I am
is
now.
mind blowing. So
It is
again, it
wild.
just speaks to what is possible, what people can do. And when we share our stories, when we share our experiences, first off, it lets others know that they're not alone in whatever it is that they're going through or whatever it is they're thinking. But second of all, it's a permission slip for others to see,
Yeah.
hey, Heather did this. I can try this too. It's possible.
Yeah. But when they know of the things that almost stopped me, they realize that they too are not alone in the things that
Yeah.
they're battling. Because again, I've had 2 hip surgeries, a broken shoulder, fractured spine, destroyed ankle, like all of the things, financial stress, all of the things that come with being a high performance athlete. And none of those were ever things that I considered to be things that almost stopped me. The things that almost stopped me were the internal obstacles. Those were the real, that was
Spandex
the
head
real
to toe.
I'm glad you went.
Not broken bones or anything like that. Not things of real consequence or physical injury or that. I can get through that. No problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's wild. It is wild. But when
It
people start
is.
realizing more, then they're like, oh my gosh, what am I stopping myself from doing? Or what's holding me back? Or if I just embrace that, what could I actually accomplish if only I
Yeah.
got? Yeah.
Wild.
Wild.
I love it. So, what moment or experience then first cracked you open to realize that your biggest opponent wasn't another athlete, but it was your own mind? It was you. Was there
Like what
something
we're
in
just talking
particular?
about?
Yeah. Was it one thing in?
I would say probably there were a couple things that reinforced it. I would say probably when we're talking about that spandex
Really?
story, it was a conversation with my sister actually who put things in perspective, and she very lovingly told me to get over myself, and as good sisters do, she did. She told me to get over myself, and she was more talking about, we were on this, I remember very vividly, like I had just broken, I had only agreed to do the testing camp to get the recruiter off my back. I
Right.
didn't think I was actually going to do it. So I went to this camp, ended up breaking one of their testing records. And all of a sudden I had 2 people asking me if I would be on their teams to go in this. So I was faced with this challenge, the Olympics, like to see if I could actually qualify for the next Olympics, which were only 5 months later. So
Holy
my
shit.
goal, like I just fell in love with this challenge, but all of a sudden it was like, I fell in love with this challenge, but I have to wear spandex in public, not in my own room, like not in a gym with a baggy t-shirt over it, and on TV. And so I was like, oh, that was a real struggle for me. So on the call with my sister, I was just like, see, they even travel together and they travel all winter and they all like train together. So I don't know how I'm going to get away with not lifting weights. Like, here's me 27 trying to figure out how I can get away with not lifting weights. And my sister's then, she goes, lift weights. And I was just like, and she goes, Heather, you don't want to get to the end, like 5 months down the road or 3 months down the road or whatever, and just miss out on making that team and always wonder for the rest of your life if vanity got in the way of you actually seeing if you could compete in those Olympic Games. And I was like, do I? Like, but when she said that, I was like, I will always forever look back and have to wonder if that one thing was, so that was a big shift for me. And I'm like, okay, can I just embrace that idea? And can I lift weights? Because I was so anti-weights because I was so paranoid about my muscular body. Why would I do weights and so I just had to I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to give it these 5 months. I'm going to give it everything I can and see how far I can go. And so it just became this, okay, I can do this. I'll do this for 5 months. I'll give in to this for 5 months and see. And that was this shift. And so that was, first of all, the realization that sometimes we need to recognize those self-sabotaging things that are holding us back and try and just embrace the challenge. But there were other things that kind of reinforced those mind shifts. And so a lot of these stories I use in my keynotes and I talk about in terms of these mind shifts. For example, like the summer before the Vancouver Olympic Games, the gym was like, I just didn't want to do an upper body workout. I was visiting my parents in Prince Edward Island, smallest Canadian province, Eastern Canada. And it's accessible only by a plane or a 13-kilometer bridge, which was actually a 45-minute ferry ride when I was growing up. So like, I just wanted to have a normal, lazy summer day. visiting my parents in that summer. That's it. Just wanted to be normal. But I went to the gym anyway, because when you want to be a champion, when you want to be the best in anything you do in any industry, you have to make champion choices, I call them. So I'm like, okay, this is a hard choice. I'm going to do something I don't want to do because I want the outcome of it. So I went to the trudge to the gym, and the door was locked with a sign that said closed for the holidays. So I don't even know what holiday it was. It was probably like one long weekend or something. And I was like, oh my God, I spun around with the biggest smile on my face. Like, I was so excited the gym was closed. I was like, woo! Go to this car with a newly found bounce on my step. Like, I was so psyched.
Yeah.
And then I get home, I flop on the couch, and I pick up the remote control, and I'm just settling into that like binge watching spot, that glorious spot where you just know you're going to be there for a while. And then a vision popped in my head of the girl who's fighting for my spot. Not even another country, but a girl who's fighting for my spot on the national team. So I got up off the couch, and I put my shoes back on, and I went up the road, and I did my entire upper body workout on the playground equipment outside of the elementary school that was just up the road from my parents' house.
Wow.
So it's not the same workout I would have done had I been in an actual gym. But the point is, I left just knowing I was doing everything I could in pursuit of what I wanted. But I also left the playground realizing that excuses really are everywhere, and that we really are capable of way more than we give ourselves credit for. So that's how that happened. So that is where I was like, wow, we really do look for outs all the time. Like, we really do, unless it's something that is so rooted in what you want to do. Anytime there's a fork in the road, unless you know what that foundation is, you will always take the comfortable path, like the way back to comfort zones, instead of the thing that we don't want to do. So it's wild.
Incredible. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Stop with the bullshit excuses, people. There's always a way.
That's it. We don't need to talk about it anymore. That's it. That's just stop with the...
Yeah. So after years of performing at elite levels, what has healing looked like for you? How do you take care of Heather, not just the Olympian, not the author, not the speaker, but Heather, the human being, the woman?
I would say space and time, probably space and time alone. I'm very close with my family. So my family takes care of me in the terms of keeps me very grounded and keeps me around people who don't see me as anything other than just the same person I was my whole life. But for me, I think that my best recovery in terms of taking care of me has to do with space and time alone, mostly in nature, like mostly, or in a sunroom with just being amongst outside stuff. So it really is, to me, that's mindfulness, and that puts me right in that moment of that stuff. Yeah. For me, that's what it is. Yeah.
You faced extremes that most people can't even imagine. So what has pain taught you that success never could?
Oh, what has pain taught me? I think success has a way of lifting you up. That kind of sounds like a given, but pain has a way of reminding you that you're still human. Pain has a way of reminding you of your humanity, of the things that are really important. I think that's what pain does. Success can sometimes make people forget about those things. And when you're, whatever pain we're describing right now, I think pain has a way of really breaking it down and bringing you back down to a place of groundedness of the things that are really important. Yeah.
So you've given a couple of examples of, you could have done things differently. You could have quit. You could have said, nah, you know what? I'm not going to the gym because I don't want to deal with the spandex, or no, you know what? I'm just going to go home and veg on the couch and binge. So I'm curious, there's many
super
physically, mentally. Yeah. What have those moments revealed to you though, about your own limits and what's possible when you push past them?
I think our mindsets are way more powerful than we realize. And so that workout in the playground, for example, was not, I don't think that was what all of a sudden just got me over the edge and made me an Olympic champion. Like that, had overcome. It's often not just doing the workouts when you're given a workout, or it's not just doing the work. It's doing the work on the days that you don't want to do the work. It's doing the workouts on the days you don't want to do the workout. Those are the ones that will instill the feeling of empowerment when you step up onto the line, when you're doing those things, those are the days that matter more so for your mind than the body, than what you actually got out of it with your body. Those are the mental strength for me, especially when it comes to that playground workout. It shows you that there are other ways, that there's not just one way. It's the same thing with my degree. There's not one way to achieve a certain outcome. And it was the same reason why I never moved to Calgary to train with a multi-million-dollar indoor push training facility at my disposal, like all the time. So I wanted to stay closer to home in a much less stressful, small p politically and charged environment. I wanted to be reminded on a daily basis that there are things that are more important than sports. And I just thought, even though I'm making it harder for myself, I knew that I needed that. I needed that. I did not want to get lost in other people's priorities, and I wanted to keep things pretty straight. Part of me was like, I'm making this way harder for myself, but part of me also, I didn't want a decision that was based more on my values and the things that were important to me. I didn't want that to be an excuse for me not training as hard as I needed to in order to achieve what I was saying I wanted to achieve. And if you really want to achieve it, you'll find a way. So every day that they had push training in the ice house where they were pushing indoors, I was in a parking lot pushing cars. So I pushed cars for training, and I did that every day it was scheduled. So who's to say we don't have good technology in small towns, right? We just have to
think outside the box.
What are they getting from that push training? How can I get that same outcome in a different way? And so for me, my brother likes to tell people he's helped me with my training. He sat in the car neutral, glaring eye of the tiger while I pushed him.
My contribution to my sister's Olympic triumphs.
I helped.
That's incredible, though. It's all what we create for ourselves. It's all what we tell ourselves. I think that's incredible that you honored what you believed in, your values, because most people be like, no, I'm going to move to Calgary and I'm going to use the push facilities there and multi-million-dollar facilities. And because the other side is too hard, you have to think outside the box and do something different. But also, I think the most important piece is that you honored your beliefs and your values, because most people don't.
I'm really lucky because I think by coming in at the age of 27, I was able to make more of those value-based decisions. And I think now when I'm coaching, like with my clients, it's easy for me to be able to reframe certain things for them. Like my clients generally tend to be extremely outwardly successful people who are just not inwardly feeling successful or feeling stressed or anxious or whatever. It's not aligning. And a lot of that is because just momentum. They got swept up into doing something that society was saying was amazing, but it wasn't actually what they truly wanted. And sometimes one of my mind shifts is just because you can doesn't mean you should. So just because you can take this opportunity to push your business to another multi-million-dollar level does not mean that you should, does not mean you have to. It doesn't mean that's actually going to make you happier. It'll make maybe your stakeholders happier. Maybe it'll make your employees happier. But in terms of you and your life, like, what do you actually want now? You're getting close to retirement. Do you really want to do that? Do you want to travel more? What is it that makes you feel fulfilled and actually feel successful? And it's been something that's carried me through a lot. So just because I could move to Calgary and do it like everyone else doesn't mean I had to. But I'm a strong believer in being accountable and understanding the consequences of your choices. So I needed to fully understand and fully accept the fact that if I was going to train on my own, if I was not going to go out there, I will do everything I can to be the best that I can be for those tryouts. But I have to acknowledge that if I don't make that team, am I okay? If I'm not good enough to make that team, am I okay with that?
Yeah.
And so am I okay to accept that? Yeah. And so for me, it was like, look at the picture. So it was the same thing with rugby.
That is so inspiring, Heather.
Yeah, thank you. But I hope that helps people stand up for the things that are truly important to them. But see, that was ingrained in me from my parents. I grew up, and of course, I can look back now and say that I was athletically gifted growing up, but I still downplayed all my athletic achievements or my athleticism so I could blend in, like self-preservation. You don't want to stand up in a small town, you just whatever. And I loved what I was doing, but my parents told every coach that I ever played for that if they had a practice on a Sunday, I would not be there. So they said,
Wow.
yeah, they said, if you have to, we just want you to know that it's our decision. It's not hers. It's the only day a week we really get to spend as a family. And so if it's a tournament, great, we'll probably be there watching anyway. But if you're holding an extra practice on a Sunday, Heather won't be there. If you have to bench her or not play her because of that, then that's fine. But we just wanted you to know
Whew.
that it's coming from us and not Heather. She's not skipping. So
Wow.
when you look at that, you realize that my parents, they could have cared less about sports. Their value was not like their values was not around trying to create an athlete. Their values was all about family and keeping us close as a family. So when you actually and are rooted in the things that are important to you, those fork in the road decisions don't become forks in the road anymore. They become very easy. Like they don't become tough decisions. It's just, this is really what I want. Just because society wants me to do this, or just because everyone else seems that they would go there, I'm going to stick with the things that are important to me. And that's true empowerment, is knowing that you're capable of going in both directions, but actually choosing the path that's right for you.
Staying true to you.
That's the definition of empowerment.
Fuck, that's huge. Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. I love it. You've proven that the human spirit can be trained just like the body. What does mental conditioning really look like at the elite level? And how can everyday people start building that strength?
Yeah. You know the saying 90% mental, 10% physical? That's not true really until you get to the elite level. Because every other level, like when you're going up through the phases, let's think about puberty, for example. There's 90% difference in people's physical abilities when they're going through puberty and teenagers and stuff. And 10%, half the people aren't even using the 10% of their brain. So it doesn't even matter. But when you get to an elite level, there's probably only a 10% in anything. I'm talking about in business, in court, like in sports or whatever. There's only a 10% variance probably in people's physical abilities to execute the skills.
Okay.
But 90% of it is one's mental ability to execute the skills. So your physical skill level is ranked out of 1 to 10, but your ability to execute under pressure, that's where the mental piece comes in. If there's no pressure, great. Someone might be an 8 out of 10. They might perform at an 8 out of 10. Under pressure, they might still be an 8 out of 10, but they suck when pressure's on. And so they can't execute what they're actually physically able to execute. So that's where the mental game comes in. And the thing is, when it comes to mental conditioning, it's not just mental strength. People talk a lot about mental strength and being able to handle the pressure and handle it. A lot of it is actually mental flexibility and mental agility. And those are the things that we're realizing. The ability to adapt to situations is probably the biggest powerhouse. So it's the same thing as people thinking you just need to be strong, but as an athlete, but you actually now know that we need to be flexible. You need to be a little more agile. All of those things help your ability to execute your skills. So really, yeah, it comes down to mental flexibility and agility. And it also comes down to your ability to control what you focus on and to only be focusing on the things that you can control, and the slant you put on the perspective you choose to take on something. So choosing to see the positive.
That's a huge mindset shift.
Someone gave me a compliment yesterday and called me pretty. So that makes me feel good. But it was my brother, and he called me. He said I was pretty annoying, but I just like to focus on the positive. So,
I love that.
see how we can choose what we want to focus on?
Yes, very true. Very true. That's fucking amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, same thing.
Same shit. It's all the lens in which you view it through.
100%. 100%. The facts are the same. What you choose to focus on. And I know I just made a joke there, but it's actually true. What you choose to focus on, where you choose to put your focus, it makes a huge difference. It's like when you're teaching people to drive, you're like, if you just focus on the thing in the road, you're going to drive to it. Whereas if you focus on the open space, then you won't even hit it. So it's interesting. It's the same thing. It's the same thing when it comes to sports or business or life, like all the challenges that get thrown at us. What can you do? So even controlling the controllables, like when I had hip surgery, I wasn't allowed to to flex my hip, to bend my hip more than 90 degrees. I had to wear a hip brace for 6 weeks. I like night and day. I wasn't allowed to, there were so many things I wasn't allowed to do, but I was allowed to do anything else. What are the else? What is the else? What is the else? What are those things that I can focus on? So I could weight bear same day of surgery as long as I was pain tolerated. I could squat, just body weight squat to the point of 90 degrees without going over. I could do single leg squats. I could do things with my other leg just to reinforce. I could still do keep up all the other things like core and all of the things. I could make sure that they weren't going to get lost or decreased while I was waiting for that hip to heal. So there's still I bought a flotation suit. Like I bought this flotation suit with these floaty things that went around my ankles so that I could do pool workouts, so that the ankle floaties, I couldn't passively flex and lift my leg up actively. Right. I couldn't activate the hip flexor. So these flotation things would passively just let my leg float to the surface. And then I could use all of my posterior chain, my glutes, my hamstrings, everything in the back to pull my leg back down. So I found ways to do things in a way that was not compromising the surgery. And it's all about what can I do in the meantime. So that's where the mental game comes in, when it is a game. It is a game. And we have to gamify our goals. We have to gamify the challenges that are in front of us. It's the same thing as a video game. You don't just slip on a banana peel and fall off the cliff and then be like, oh, guess I'm never playing that again. Yeah. You try it again and you find a different path, or you try a different vehicle, or you try a different strategy, or you tried whatever. You try different things to achieve. Am I giving the most ridiculous examples here? I am.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. These are very basic, simple examples that everyone can relate to. So it's perfect. No, I absolutely love this. Thank you for all the examples.
They're about life. Like all of that. If we actually attacked our goals, if we challenged ourselves with our goals and just even challenged ourselves to see how close we could get, that's the same thing we do in a video game. We're just, all we're doing is challenging ourselves to see how far we can get this time. And then we change our capacity. We read a new book, or we get a new coach, or we watch a new video to show us how to do something. And then that changes for the next time, and it changes for the next time. And so that's what we need to do. We need to just gamify all of our goals, all the challenges in front of us. Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it. So you've been at the pinnacle of human performance. What's the part of high achievement that people don't see? The silent, unseen cost behind the shine of it all?
I would say it can be sometimes isolating, especially when you're a people person and you love to connect with people. It can be and even now as a speaker, being a speaker, I meet thousands of people at events all the time, but in the it's me alone in the business, right? It's me alone traveling. It's me alone doing those things. So it can be very isolating, but I think some of those things are the things you miss when you're on the road for playing sports or doing whatever, the birthdays, the anniversaries, those different things that you're on the road for and you miss out on. But I've tried to make sure that I'm not missing the things that are the most important to me. Yeah. So again, it's figuring out what your priorities are and choosing to honor those priorities. And
Okay. You talk about shifting the mental game. We've been doing a lot of talking about the mental game, which is the key to everything. What is the first truth people have to face before they can even begin that shift?
I think that you can't change what you refuse to own. So once you accept that it is your mindset that needs to change, or the way that you're thinking about things or whatever, not with judgment, but with curiosity, like that you're curious about how things can change, then you basically take back the power to change everything. So it's, I guess it's understanding that that shift in perspective, I think it's keeping the door open for possibility. No matter how much you doubt something, if you keep the door open for possibility, then it changes everything.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, you've worked with, coached world-class performers, burned out achievers. What's the universal human pattern that you see that keeps people from realizing how truly powerful they are?
Comfort zone, autopilot, status quo. Those are the things that fuel our excuses. So I would have to say that those are probably the if we're talking about both ends of that spectrum,
Yeah.
like high achievers and burnt out,
Mhm.
or the people who aren't getting going,
Yeah.
that one thing, like that biggest thing is comfort zone. Yeah, the innate need to avoid discomfort. Our brains are just wired that way. And so that's the biggest thing that's holding people back.
It's so sad, though. I'm sure you see it all the time when people just can't get past that and it's stopping them. You see the greatness in someone, you see the ability, you see it, they don't see it, and they're just stuck in that fucking zone that they cannot or refuse to step out of.
So when I was in high school, we had our athletic banquet, and like I said, I didn't start taking sports really seriously till I was 27. But in high school, I was still playing a whole bunch of different sports. And I walked into my coach's office right after the athletic banquet with an armful of trophies with various engravings on them. And I thought he would say something really great, what I thought was great. Anyway, he just looked up from his desk and shook his head and he said, "Oh, Heather, you have so much potential." And I was like, "Oh, why is he being so weird?" I was just about to turn to leave. And he just said, "But wait, I just want you to make sure you understand that potential," like here I'm thinking it's a compliment, but why is he being weird about that?
Mhm.
And he said, "But you need to understand potential is just talent you don't have yet." And I was like, okay, he's being really weird. So that didn't land at the time. I'd like to
Right.
say it did, but it didn't.
Mhm.
But all of a sudden, when I started bobsledding, probably 10 years later,
Mhm.
when I was faced with this challenge and this and trying to overcome other people's the naysayers, right? Who are
Mhm.
like, what, as if this is possible kind of thing. All of a sudden, those words, almost like a haunting, like a situation I hadn't even given 2 seconds of thought
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
before that time. I came back and the whole thing came back all about potential. And I was like, if I have a lot of potential, as he said, and potential is just talent you don't have yet, the only way I can figure out what I'm really capable of is to challenge myself and see what nobody knows how much potential they have until they
Mhm.
fulfill it.
Yeah.
Or so I was just like, okay, I want to see what I'm really capable of. And I think that whole situation has been an anchoring situation for me. What is potential is great. Potential is a compliment. But potential is absolutely nothing unless you agree or unless you decide and make the choice to figure out what that is and like how much you actually have.
That's a huge holy shit moment.
Yeah. Yeah. That came
Wow.
10 years after he said it.
Yeah. So, speaking of potential, when you look at the relationship between fear and potential, which one do you think drives humans more? And which one has driven you more?
Between fear and potential, I would have to say, I think probably potential. I think at the beginning, fear was holding me back,
Mhm.
like that fear of being judged, the fear of what other people would think, the fear, like that fear.
Yeah.
Not so much the fear of a result, actually. Like that, I wasn't really afraid of the failure itself, partly because I'm very blessed that I have a safety net of a family where their love and support is not contingent on results,
Yeah.
which not a lot of people have. But for me, it was the fear of judgment of other people and not being accepted or not being. And so that drove a lot of things at the beginning.
Mhm.
But once that I got past that speed suit, I honestly think that everything became a challenge for me. I fell in love. I didn't fall in love with bobsledding. I had to make a decision without ever seeing a sled. I hadn't seen a sled. I hadn't even been down the track yet. And I just decided if I was going to do this. And in the moment, it was the challenge I fell in love with. And a lot of people don't understand, but my goal when I started this was not to become an Olympic champion. Are you kidding? I had
Mhm.
5 months to learn it,
Yeah.
like to learn a new sport and qualify. So it wasn't about achieving a title or anything like that. It was all about embracing a challenge of seeing how close I could get. And so for me, each of those 4 Olympic games in which I competed, all of them presented me with 4 different challenges.
Mhm.
And so even the last one, I turned them when they asked if I would come back, I said no. And then they asked me if I would come back again to try and three-peat the other 2 medals. I said no. But it was a girl who was a new driver, and
Mhm.
she contacted me and said there was a lack of leadership in the program, trigger word. And she said that besides my former teammate who was gonna have to focus on her own path to successfully defending her medals, not one other person in the program had been to the games before. So they were just feeling, and she said, based on what I've heard about you, I feel like you would be not only an asset to me, but also to the team as a whole, like just having you there. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't trained for 3.5 years since the last Olympics. I've had a second hip surgery. I just turned 39. I'm like, what are you even asking me to do?
Yeah.
What, you even know that I'm 39? It was like a crazy conversation. But anyway, so I embraced the challenge of seeing if I could physically get back in time in a couple months to even do a tryout to qualify for the team. But the challenge I embraced was I agreed to go back to only push a rookie. So I wasn't motivated by the idea of going back to a 4th Olympic Games to try and win a 3rd Olympic medal.
Repeat the medal. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was motivated by the idea of just helping someone else qualify for the games and maybe help them win their first. So to me, it was a different challenge. It was a physical challenge, yes, but also just a different kind of challenge in the whole landscape and what my goals were. Cause that choice aligned more with my values and where I was in that moment in my business and where I was in life. I don't need a 3rd medal. Like that stuff I'm not motivated by, I just want to try be the best again. And it was never about trying to be the best. It was challenging to see how close I could get. And by having that mentality, how close I could get just happened to be at the top. It wasn't that I was trying to get, I know it's a bit of a nuanced line of thinking.
I think it's fucking incredible, actually. I think it's so inspiring and incredible. And again, this speaks to who you are as a human. This speaks to who you are as a woman. This speaks to who you are as just being in service to someone else. That was your motivation. Like how fucking, if more people fucking thought like that and acted in that way, as opposed to being selfishly motivated, how fucking incredible would this world be? That's just, you epitomized that right there. It wasn't about the fucking 3-peat gold medal. No. It was about helping someone. More people need to step into that mindset. I applaud that. I think it's fucking incredible. I really do. I think that just screams volumes as to who you are, Heather. Truly.
Thank you. I think the more we can get people grounded in their own values and grounded I think when people actually know what their values and priorities are, then they're not so influenced about the opinions and values and expectations of everyone else.
Yeah.
And so I think that those things, it's so important to get clear on those. But the problem is that right now, nobody has time or space or silence to get in touch with those. So if we're not around other people, we're being bombarded by those on social media or in the news or like the things like, do you know why so many New Year's resolutions fail? It's because we're not even setting goals that we want to achieve. We're setting goals that we think we're supposed to want to achieve.
Societal standards.
You really want it? Do you really want to lose 10 pounds? Or do you just think that you'll be looked at differently if you lose 10 pounds? It's very different. Yeah. And I think that we're setting we're not in touch with we're not clear about what we actually want. We know what society wants. We know what society wants us to want or what we think we should be doing, but we're not clear on that. So when you can get clear on that, it really helps with a lot of decisions and makes you feel more grounded and stuff.
But I think just to your point, we don't have the time. I think it's a matter of people not making the time because their priorities are so fucked up. It's about because everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Everyone has the same 24 hours as you do. So it is possible. I have the same amount of time as you do in a day. It's about how you prioritize and making the time for the things like sitting in silence, sitting with your thoughts, thinking and really digging into, is this really something I want? Or am I doing it because my parents said I should do it? My brother said I should do it. My sister, my friends, all of these fucking things.
Yeah.
Sit down and get close to yourself. Dig into you.
Yeah. And do it before, we need to get people to do that early because a lot of people, for example, some people start families and realize later being like, I did this because that's what everyone in my neighborhood was doing. And that's what all my friends were doing. And that's what and then they just grew up assuming that's what it would be and not really actually making the choice of what they truly want, but not actually looking into that. It's wild. It's really crazy. But that's why I may actually in 2026 be starting some retreats where it's literally just disconnect to reconnect. Like it is literally a disconnect and stepping away from your the environments and the opinions and values of of unlearning what we think we're supposed to be wanting and all of those things. So it's a process. People are uncomfortable. Let's talk about comfort and discomfort.
Yeah.
They're uncomfortable with being alone with their thoughts.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
What would you say is one of the biggest lies then that we tell ourselves about our own potential?
I don't think we really think about our potential as a society, really. I think we're just, I think we sell ourselves short, but I think we do it a little more based on how we identify ourselves, how we root our beliefs into that identity. So I'm not the kind of person who does this, or nobody in my neighborhood has ever done whatever. So therefore, or it was just like me. It's not that I ever actively and very intentionally thought I could never go to the Olympics. It was just that at the time, there wasn't a lot of representation on TV of women in sports. I grew up in an academic family, so sport was considered extracurricular to what I was going to do to earn a living. And to me, Olympians, those were TV people, not everyday normal people like I considered myself to be. So I considered myself to be a normal person. So what ties into being a normal person? It's mowing the lawn for your neighbor and getting a job. And I knew, because my belief system told me, that I would get a university degree, probably get a secondary post-secondary degree, like a master's degree or a PhD or a medical degree, like whatever, because that's what my family had done. Not only my parents, but my grandparents. That was not outside of the lane of possibility for me,
right,
of what I considered realistic. So a lot of people, we talk about how autonomous we are in making all of our own choices and all of that stuff. Great, wonderful, awesome. And we do, but we only make our choices based within the boundaries that we have set, that are based on our own direct exposures and our experiences. So if our parents were teachers, we already know that it's possible to become a teacher. If our parents are doctors, we know that's possible. If, like, my nieces and nephews, if they want to go to the Olympics, Auntie's done it 4 times. So if we want to do that, like, it's a possibility, not guarantee, but it's at least in their realm of possibilities. Whereas for me, it took getting jarred out and getting, like, even when I was recruited the first time to go to the Olympics, I said no. No.
No, thanks. I'm good.
So the second time I was like, oh God, fine, kicking and screaming. I'll go and do your testing camp. And then it took breaking a testing record 5 months before the Olympics for all of that to be like, I guess I can put real life on hold for 5 months and just embrace a challenge, a cool challenge, to see how close I can get. That is how it happened. The reluctant Olympian. Like, I've been called the reluctant Olympian. I don't know how else to say it, but for me, it took being jarred out of that lane for me to even see the possibilities. Like, sometimes it's just not, you're not even considering it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we need to break down those barriers and allow ourselves to consider those things outside our boundaries, because that is limiting what we think of our potential as being, and what we're limiting our definitions of what's realistic and that sort of thing.
What's possible. So, yes, absolutely. I love it. Oh my God. I'm fucking loving this conversation. It is so powerful and it's funny as shit. I just love it. I love your references. I love the examples it's amazing. It's just, you make it sound so simple, and it really is simple when you really sit down and think about it and bring it, like, someone listening to this conversation, it is really that simple. It's just, you have to get into it. You have to step into that and embody it and become it. It's just,
do you know what our society is really good at doing? Overcomplicating things.
Oh,
it's really good at that, and making people feel like we are living in a world right now where we are being told that, like, we're living in a world of extremes. We're being told that in order to be successful, we need to, like, cold plunge for 17 hours a day and only one Thursday every month, and wake up at 4 a.m. to do our 7-hour morning routine.
Yes, this whole 5 a.m. club bullshit.
Yeah. Right? Wake up at 5 a.m. to do a 7-hour morning routine, but still get 8 hours of sleep and do all, like, we're also being told that if we don't do all those things, then we must not want it badly enough. Or even if we want it badly enough, if we're not doing all of those things, we're going to fail at it anyway. So why
Mm-hmm.
bother? Like, why bother trying? And we're just made to feel guilt and shame about not putting all of that stuff because all these other people seem to be doing that.
Yeah.
And really, it's not about extremes. It's about shifting. That's why I talk about just shifts in the way we think about something, because the way we shift, when we shift something in our brain, it changes the way you feel about it, about yourself, and about what's possible. And it's just tiny little changes of the way we think. Because if you change the way you think or see something, it can ultimately change your choices, and that will change your outcomes, and that will change ultimately the life that you're living. So it really is, it can be small shifts that make a huge difference.
It is. It's always the tiniest little things that make the biggest fucking difference.
Yep.
It's plain and simple. It's as simple as that. It really is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So, what is one common mindset trap that keeps high performers stuck in the cycle of overdrive and self-sabotage?
I would say maybe that in burnout, are we talking about burnout here? Okay, what's one mindset trap that keeps high performers, what did you say?
Stuck in the cycle of overdrive and self-sabotage.
I think maybe that people's sense of self-worth and their value is tied to their output. So I think that we need to really, I think that, so if they think that their output is not going to be good, then that is reflective of them. And then that, again, it comes down to the judgment of other people. It comes down to your self-worth and who you think you're deserving to be loved, or like all those things. That's what it comes down to. And I'm just very fortunate that I grew up in a family where any results, whether it was singing at the music festival or whether it was a sport that we were playing or whatever, their love and support, or even rewards like going to get ice cream or whatever, it was not contingent on results. So I never grew up thinking that if I didn't perform a certain way, then I wouldn't get their attention or their time. Or there's so many people who are stuck doing something because they think if they don't do that, then they won't have the attention of their parent, or they won't have the time they get to spend with their dad because that's something their dad loves to do. So they don't want to tell them that they don't love doing it anymore, and all those different things. So we think that our output and our behavior is all what we're choosing to do, and how we're performing is all tied to our value and our self-worth. And I think that's causing people to not try, because if you don't try, then you can't fail. And by not doing that, it's keeping you safe. So not failing is better than not succeeding. And I think that's a mind shift that needs to get flip-flopped.
You've proven that you can, with all of your achievements, Olympic medals, conquering mountains, mindsets, and all of these. But I'm curious, is there anything that you're dealing with right now that you're struggling with, like within yourself?
Delegation.
Okay.
I am struggling with delegation. That's probably the biggest thing in my business that I'm struggling with. And I'm getting better. It's a process. But for the longest time, I was doing everything myself in my business. And now that my business is growing, I'm realizing that I'm doing a lot of it. And now I'm pulling people in to try and help me with doing the things that don't need my actual specific attention to it. So
is that just a control thing because you think that you are the only one that can do it, or not wanting to release? What is that?
I would say some of it is that. For some things, it would be that, which again, like someone else doing it slightly not the way I would do it is still better than me wasting time doing it. Like I've got to get over that. So yes, part of it is that little type A of having, wanting to have a hand in everything. And part of it for a while in the business, like when I was building it, was finances. Like, how can I hire someone else to do certain things when I'm building everything on your own? And also just that mindset of that it is, even though it's been a business for over 10 years, like the idea that it is a business, like just because it's incorporated, it's just me. So how does it feel like like that whole perception, self-perception of the fact that I am running a business as opposed to it just being me, like little old me doing the stuff. And so now that it's growing and there are more offerings and all these things, I just need to be able to build my capacity so that I'm not letting I don't want my coaching clients to fall through the cracks. I don't want to miss opportunities of leads to go and impact rooms full of people at conferences and stuff. So it's just figuring out all those pieces. And of course, bringing in the pieces in a way that's like changing my whole back end system of my business. It's been going on this whole year. So that is changing everything. And I don't consider myself to be overly techie. I consider myself to be basic tech. And so a lot of these incorporations of new things is just very foreign to me. So it's just huge learning curves, right? Just like anything, it's a big learning curve, but that takes the time and all of that stuff. So it's prioritizing. It's prioritizing, like, what do I need to help move the needle and to help move things forward for people?
Have you found it difficult with the mindset piece for yourself? Because you're trying to step in and practice what you preach to others to help others with mindset. So are
You mean, do I
struggling?
have an internal dialogue battle in my brain?
Is that still very loud though? And how are you dealing with that? I'm
I
curious.
still catch myself making excuses all the time. Excuses our brains are naturally going to go to excuses or assumptions and whatever. So the key is not, I don't think the key is to try and never have them or never have, the key is to catch us making them, to catch us in the moment where we're like, oh, is that true? Or why am I saying that when I don't know it's true? Or yes, one of the most powerful, I'm totally going off topic here. One of the most powerful mind shifts, I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, but didn't talk it through, is how close can I get?
Okay.
And it's not only powerful in the way that it is like, it gets you in the game for something that you might not be able to think you can achieve. Great. Yeah. Like I don't think I'm going to become an Olympic champion when it's in 5 months time, but I want to see how close I can get. So it challenges you allows you to enter, it allows you to get off the sidelines. The second way it's really powerful is that it quiets the critics and it disempowers the naysayers. Because if you've got the people, we all know them, like the eye roller, the one who's like that under the breath as if whatever, or good luck with that, or the person or the friend who says, she just wants what's best for you, but in that one sentence just kills your dream all at the same time. I'm just looking out for you. I just want what's best for you. Like all of those people, all those naysayers, if they say, those things, do you really think that you'll be able to achieve? Come on, do you really think you're going to be able to do that? Even if it's the voice in your own head, all you have to do is just say, I have no idea. Maybe not, but I just want to see how close I can get. And then there's nothing else I can say because you're acknowledging the fact that you might not get there. That's not the point. The point is that you think it's going to be a really cool journey, something really fun to do, and that you're going to see how close you can get. And you will always get farther with that mindset than if you just set goals and targets instead of spectrums. If we set them in spectrums, then you get way farther than bullseyes that are like hit or miss, all or nothing. We avoid them because we don't want to miss. We don't want the failure. We don't want the nothing. Whereas if we embrace the spectrum, we keep going. So amazing. I don't even know what we talked about before because I just changed.
That's okay. That's all right. No, it's okay. All good. I love the detours and left turns. And because I was going to ask you for a tip for a mindset shift. So if you have, can you give one more?
Yeah,
you have found that's very valuable or that helps a lot that you've experienced for whatever it is, for what, if you want to be an elite athlete, if you want to grow your business, just that mindset shit.
Yeah, we've touched on stuff. So how close can I get is really powerful. That we need to stop asking our questions, can I? Or can you do something? Can I do something? Or if we've got teams, anytime someone's can you, it shouldn't be can you because you're automatically thinking about probabilities, limitations, statistics, whatever. But if you don't even say can you, but if you just add one word and the words how can you, it switches from, you're not even thinking about those odds and probabilities anymore. You're suddenly thinking of solutions. That's the only question that's the only thing that question is asking you for is solutions. So how can you? How can I? Okay, can I qualify for the Olympics in 5 months? Your brain will automatically say no, probably not. So you'll be, why bother trying? Instead, if you just say how and you say, how could I qualify? Like, how can I qualify for the Olympics in 5 months? You're immediately thinking about, okay, what do I need? What muscles do I need to strengthen? What kind of, technique do I need to learn? What do I need to know about the equipment? What do I need to know about my teammates and whatever? The whole thing. Like, as soon as you put how, you're focusing on solutions. That's actually a mind shift that there was a company I spoke to last January, and they hired me to come back and speak to them another 4 times during the year and to different various events. And as soon as the first one happened, they said, we've had meetings, and they literally will correct people now and say, how? Excuse me, we're not saying, can we do this? We're saying, how can we do? And I love that. Like, I love knowing that these organizations or these individual people are like, whatever mind shift resonates with them. How close can I get to the big one? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that's for a lot of high performers who are like, bordering burnout, that's a really big one for them.
Yeah.
Also a really good one for people who are climbing the ladder, for them to help make those value-based decisions. Because just because I can do it the same way everyone else doesn't mean I should. And then maybe it's how can I do it in a way that aligns with my values? How can I do it differently than someone else in a way that protects my priorities and stuff? So the how can I is really powerful in conjunction with all of these. Then there's another one, mind you, that goes with the burnout stuff, trying to prevent burnout and getting that rest and recovery. And it's the phrase 2 steps forward, 1 step back, the phrase of discouragement. I hear it just you're making progress and then
you get bumped back.
Yeah. And results just falter and you just don't see results. You just keep plugging away and nothing happens. I think we have it backwards. I think we need to flip it. So instead of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, it needs to be 1 step back, 2 steps forward. So instead of thinking as having that 1 step back as luxury or a reward or something that happens after or something that's negative, it needs to be part of our strategy. Maybe it's telling us that we need to take 1 step back in order to have the energy, but also the perspective to make sure that not only we can go the distance and take multiple steps forward, but also make sure that we're going in the right direction, the direction we want to be going in.
That could also be looked at as you're taking a step back to take a running jump at it to move forward.
Exactly.
That's the first thing I thought of when you said that.
Pull back, the
slingshot.
Yeah,
yes.
Whatever that's called. The slingshots, yes.
Yes.
Like you pull
that's
back,
the first thing I thought. That's exactly what I thought when you said that.
Thinking of it as a negative or a weakness, but actually incorporating it into their strategy. And I compare that because yes, like I'm always comparing the sports athlete to the corporate athlete and or the life athlete or whatever you want to call it, because it's the higher levels I went in sports, the more emphasis and importance was placed on recovery. I just don't see that happening in any other industry. Athletes strategize. They use it as strategy. It is built into their programs, their daily training programs, their weekly programs, and also their annual programs, like between seasons. And so they have micro, meso, and macro levels of recovery. And I think we need that in business. We need that in life. And going on a family vacation, shocker, is not restful. It's not the resting piece. Like not many people come back from a family trip and be like, woo, I feel so rested. No, that doesn't happen a lot.
No.
So that might be a recovery piece for filling up your soul, but it's not the rest piece. And rest and recovery are two different things that we need to be really wary of. So we're changing the world right now. Did you know we are just changing the world?
Yes, we are. Absolutely. We are 100% with all these nuggets and jewels. Hell yes, we are. And that's what this is about. That's what this platform is all about, is showing people and talking about these things so that people know what's available to them, what's possible for them.
Yes.
This is it. It's about changing the fucking world. That's the whole thing behind this platform. We are changing the world one conversation at a time. That's
we are.
One episode at a time.
Perfect.
What does freedom mean to you at the very deepest level, beyond money, status, or recognition?
Freedom, I would say, is being comfortable in your own skin. I think when you're comfortable in your own skin and grounded in your priorities and your values, I think that is freedom, because you don't feel tied to things. You don't feel pulled to things. On a slightly more superficial level, for me, freedom is just the ability to travel to see my family whenever and wherever I need to.
Okay.
And that is, that's for me. But I think in terms of the most profound level of freedom, I think it is really being so comfortable in your skin that it's impermeable. You're just, you are who you are and you're grounded in it.
How do you define success? What does that word mean to you?
I think that outward success and inward success are very different. I think for me, success means peace and balance.
Okay. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
I think we touched on this earlier. For me, empowerment means knowing what you're capable of accomplishing or doing or becoming, but also knowing that being able to choose what's actually right for you. Okay. So there's one thing about knowing what you're capable of and what you can do, but making the choices that are right for you despite the opinions and values and expectations of other people. And I think that's empowerment.
Okay. We're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions
Oh,
just
I
be
am not a
one.
rapid fire answer person.
You're
Have you
going to
met
have to be for this one. Yes, I have met you.
rapid fire? Okay, only
Yes.
5 minutes per answer. Okay, got it.
Oh my God, Heather. What is your favorite place on earth?
My favorite place on earth would be my family cottage. Cabin, like not insulated, little cabin in the woods, no TV,
Okay.
right on the water.
What
Family.
is
To me, my cottage is synonymous with family. So it's
Okay.
very much, yeah.
What is one of your secret or hidden talents?
I don't know if I have one. A secret or hidden talent. I don't think any of them are secret. And I don't know that I have anything that's
Okay, one then. Just
I can't juggle. I can't. My secret talent is, I don't know, getting birds and squirrels to eat out of my hand.
all right.
How's that?
That's good.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
good.
great.
If-
People are going to be like, oh my, I hope this is not where we're leaving this now. Okay, keep going. Okay.
If we could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
If we could teach the world one thing, what would it be? It would be to believe in the possibilities.
Okay. What is one of your guilty pleasures?
I have a lot of pleasures, not much guilt.
Okay, that works.
I have a lot. I think guilt is bad for your
Overrated.
health.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's bad for your health. So if you're going to eat that chocolate, eat the chocolate, because it's probably better for you to eat the chocolate than to feel guilty. Just eat it.
Okay.
Yeah,
One word that sums up your mindset.
Oh my God. One word. Ridiculous? No, that's more my personality, not my mindset. I would probably have to say probably empowered.
Okay. One book that changed your life.
Oh, I don't think I can answer this for a lot of reasons. One, I'm not very good at remembering titles of books.
Okay.
But this is probably a cop-out and not a very quick answer. But my book was life-changing, but not because of the book itself. I don't want to say it's because of the book itself, but writing that helped flesh out a lot of ideas that I now use to empower other people, but also the responses that I get from other people after reading my book. That has also had a profound effect on me.
That works. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
One word that defines the woman you are becoming.
Unhinged. No, I'm just kidding. Filtered, uncensored.
All right. Okay. I like the unhinged one.
Unhinged. Yeah. And
Let's go with that.
More self-assured.
Okay.
Yeah.
That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. What is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received, and who gave it to you?
I don't know. I've had phenomenal advice from my parents my whole life, so I don't know if anything really stands out. I think a very simple question that they used to ask all the time is just, why can't you? And I think that's not advice, but it's framed how I really resonate with challenging questions and how I coach. It's, why can't you do that? What's stopping you from doing that? So not really advice, just a different
reframe.
A mind reframe. Yeah.
If you were to introduce yourself to me without mentioning your occupation, where you're from, your religion, all of these day-to-day superficial markers we use, how would you introduce yourself to me?
So more like descriptors, like probably maybe a catalyst for empowerment.
Okay. That works.
Yeah. A connector, maybe. Someone who helps people see the possibilities.
Okay. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
I think we got a lot of questions.
We did.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a hard one. Are we really going to end on this one that I can't answer?
No. There's still a couple more. Don't worry. I'll take that as a compliment. I received that.
Yeah, you received that.
I did a thorough job.
You did a very thorough job.
All right. I'll take that.
You didn't ask me my favorite color, though, so I'm very offended.
Hey, what's your favorite color? Okay, I'm going to take this. This is going in the W column. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
I'd probably, are they dead?
Yeah,
or alive?
either or, whatever you want.
I'd probably want to have I'd want to have conversation with all of my past relatives, like my past women who've like descendants from them. If it has to be someone alive, probably Michelle Obama.
Okay.
But maybe Oprah.
Okay.
Maybe Ellen, because she's funny. I don't know. Yeah, there are a lot of really incredible women out there doing incredible things for people. And some people who were just living their own life, but paved the way. And I think that's really, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my grandmother's probably.
Yeah. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't sell yourself short. You're capable of way more than you think you are.
Okay. Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your corner of the world, your people, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
Whether your goal is to make money or make an impact, whether it's to climb the corporate ladder or climb Mount Everest, whether it's to grow a garden or grow your social media following, whether it's to stand up on a podium or stand up for a cause, you will be faced with challenges that test your belief in what's possible. They test what you believe to be realistic. But I invite you to be fueled and motivated by challenges like I am, to not put a limit on your potential or the potential of what you could accomplish or become. I invite you to redefine what you've been told is realistic and to see all the possibilities that exist in your life or in your work. And I invite you to own your own story and embrace challenges, because regardless of how big your goals are or how insurmountable a challenge might seem that's in front of you, just remember you are capable of way more than you give yourself credit for.
Beautiful. Heather, thank you so much for this amazing, fun, inspiring, thought-provoking conversation. It has been an absolute honor and pleasure to sit and have the time with you to share in your story and your journey, and of course, the incredible and beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. I have enjoyed every moment of our conversation. I've had so much fun. Thank you for brightening my day, lightening my day, and just, I am grateful to call you a friend and to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you so much, Heather. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest has been Heather Moyse. She is a mental game shifter, a resilient strategist, a 4-time Olympian, 2-time Olympic gold medalist in the sport of bobsledding, and has been inducted into the World Rugby Hall of Fame, a keynote speaker, best-selling author, and life empowerment coach. Thank you so much, Heather. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast.